And we are live.
Boom.
Boom. On a Monday. Myself, Steve Metrics, with your boy.
DJ Triggs.
And together we are Db8 Sports, back on a Monday, covering some NFL free agency and a little bit of NBA news. And that's going to be our show for tonight. And tomorrow we're going to be breaking down our March Madness picks, both for the men's and the women's brackets. So all sorts of cool, crazy stuff to sort out. But with that, let's start with the NFL, Triggs. What kind of stuff are you seeing with free agency kind of wrapping up?
Okay, so this is what blows my mind, right? And we were talking off air. Oh man, we're going behind the curtain.
Ooh, behind the curtain, just
Well,
like the Wizard
there
of
you go.
Oz. Yes.
Uh,
Or behind the
it's-
candelabra, like with Matt Damon and whoever, whatever his name was. But yeah, behind the candelabra. If you want something
Matt Damon
good,
and that other guy.
I'm just saying.
Um, so we were talking about taxes and stuff, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
this is the thing that I don't understand about free agency right now.
Okay,
Listen to these bottom five teams in
sure.
terms of cap space still available.
Gotcha.
The Washington Commanders still have $62 million.
Okay,
The New England Patriots have $54 million.
okay,
The Tennessee Titans have $47 million.
okay.
The Philadelphia Eagles have $39 million. And the Chargers have $39 million.
All right.
And
So, okay. All right. I see where you're at.
and that I don't understand how any of these teams have money still. Like
Yeah.
all the big name free agents are kind of gone.
Yep.
You basically told your fan base like, "Oh, yeah, we still have money, but we're not spending it
Yep.
on anybody that you care about.
Yep.
So we're kind of just packing it in."
Yeah, and that was notorious for quite a while until recently when you saw the Bengals change over to like sponsorship. I think they're called Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati. But that was a big thing they got criticized for heavily, was that they would actually not spend all of their salary cap and pocket that money because they are a family run football team. So some of these teams, their owners actually have only made money through football. The Bengals are one of those. The Raiders are one of those. I want to say I mean, obviously the Green Bay Packers are one of those, even though they are publicly owned, but technically they fall under that umbrella. But that is an interesting thing for some of these teams that might have some financial struggles. And to be honest, a lot of those teams you just mentioned have had questionable things going on in very recent years, all of them. And I mean, not all of these things I'm saying are bad, but they are questionable. You said the Tennessee Titans, the Philadelphia Eagles, the LA Chargers, the Washington football team, and the New England Patriots?
Yep.
Patriots. Okay. So we can see that there's definitely some changing of the guard or turmoil going on with the Patriots, Eagles, Titans. We go out to the Chargers. That's a little bit of turmoil as well with a new coaching regime coming in. And the Carolina Panthers, I believe that was another team you mentioned, right?
No.
No. Is that all the teams you mentioned?
Yeah, just those five.
Okay.
I have the whole list though.
So yeah, we just going over that again. We got Tennessee, we have Maryland, basically. We have New England and Massachusetts. We have Philly and Pennsylvania, and then we have the Chargers. So all of those teams are teams that are kind of like changing the guard. And so like New England, total change of the guard. Don't really know what the heck they're doing. Philly, they're about to clean house. Let's be honest. Like they are going to go through some drastic changes, and they have no fear in hitting a reset button more than any other NFL franchise. They don't care if you've won a Super Bowl, if you've gone to conference titles as a head coach. They will hit that reset button, fire you, clean house, and start over. They're totally fine with that. So they're about to do that. Tennessee changed it over, but more importantly, Tennessee is about to build a new football stadium. I think they might pocket that money and invest it in the expenses towards building a new stadium. That I think that could be totally legit. I do think some of this money is going to be towards rookies in the NFL draft. I don't know how much they have to really designate for a rookie first season. I believe the pay structures for rookies start small and then they get bigger as they gain more tenure into their rookie contracts. And then LA, they definitely have a changing of the guards. They are cleaning. They got some wild things going on with LA. I know it's a restructuring of contracts. I don't know who else is really a big name that's out there. We just saw we just saw Chase Young go to Louisiana for the New Orleans Saints from Chase Young was
San Francisco.
So Chase Young basically took his income tax and slashed it 3 times. So he's getting taxed 2/3 less than what he did in California. That's his move there. I think that makes a ton of sense. But that's the main thing that we're seeing with these bigger kind of franchises that still have money is they're probably getting ready to either do something with coaching or they definitely got some weird things like investing in a stadium kind of thing. Washington is the same way. They are looking at building a new stadium as well. I think they're in the kind of perfect scenario of, hey, we've brought in people, but we know we've brought in the coach. We know our team is changing our dynamic, and now we need to invest in a stadium. Stadiums cost in like legit. I mean, if you're Tennessee, Washington, or Chicago, and you're really going to be serious about building a new stadium, that stadium right now, let's be honest. I mean, the Raiders were kind of a fluke as well as Minnesota. Your new stadium is going to cost you like $5 billion. So it does make sense that Washington and Tennessee are going to start pocketing some money if they can, and they don't feel like they're a competitor to build a new stadium. I think that's what we're looking at.
See, but this is the thing. So I had to look this up to make sure I got it correct. And that's
Yeah,
why I was going, maybe it's the tax thing you're talking about. But
sure.
teams are supposed to be, so there's a salary cap floor now.
Okay.
You have to spend 89% of your cap over a
Oh, okay.
4 year span.
Oh,
And then
okay.
the NFL as a whole has to spend 95% of the cap.
Okay.
So I'm like, Washington, New England, and Tennessee have like $50 million. Washington
Ugh.
has 62.
They
And
have
it's
to
like,
spend it.
yeah, what are they doing? Like, I know Washington got rid of, you said Chase Young. They basically sent him to San Francisco for nothing.
Yep.
And then was it Montez Sweat?
Yep.
Went to the Bears, I want to say.
Yep.
And like I look at that and I just go, okay, Washington doesn't have a quarterback. New England doesn't have a quarterback. Tennessee, Will Levis, hopefully. But Philly being that far down just kind of goes, you guys are all in. The
Yeah.
Chargers going all in, but then all of a sudden getting rid of Keenan Allen.
Right.
And then the next team on that list that I didn't even talk about, Detroit. They're supposed to be going all in. Last year and the year before was, winning the division and, you know, pushing
Right.
to be in the playoffs and being
Yep.
this top team. And it's like, man, you have the sixth most cap to spend and you didn't spend it. Like, what was the point? Their quarterback's already paid,
Yep.
their wide receivers paid.
Yep.
They basically have their running back. They got rid of their tight end for no reason. Like, I I just don't understand what some of these teams. The next team after that's the Bengals, and it's like, wow, you just let one of your wide receivers walk out of the door for nothing, but you had the money to spend on him.
Yeah.
You traded away your running back for pennies because they were going to cut him at first,
Yes.
and it's like you could have paid that guy. Like, what are they holding this money for?
Yeah, it is pretty bizarre. Like these teams gotta be using that money to spend on players. I don't know if these are other players existing on the roster that are having more money paid to them at this stage of their contracts. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going on. But then again, I wonder if some of that money is kind of held over in the event of a trade. I that's about all I'm grasping at.
Right, and I get like you have to have a certain amount of cap to spend for rookies and draftees and stuff like that. But 62, like Washington has basically doubled every other team except maybe like five. Like
Right.
that's insane.
And Washington's brought in players. They have
Yeah.
certainly brought in players to that team, and Dan Quinn's bringing them in. And I have a updated sheet of state income taxes, state to state, and Washington technically plays in the state of Maryland right now. There's even talks that they're probably going to build a new stadium in Virginia, I believe. And the state income tax for both Maryland and Virginia is fairly comparable. They are both basically in a tax range between Wisconsin and Illinois, so that's comparable. Those are states that players would definitely be willing to play at.
Wow. Yeah. I don't understand it, man. It's also weird to me. I'm like, use your money, pay your players, do your thing.
Yeah, it is. I don't get what's going on here with this. I mean, you definitely got to pay your players, and I mean, I think it would be. I'm actually shocked this is the case because I would think it would be more the opposite, where it's got to be harder to sign players because uh, the cap is about $250 million. You have about 50 some odd players on your team, so that would mean you have to average $2 million per player. I would think that's very difficult to achieve.
Hmm. Yeah. Like I just went back to try and figure out like who they signed, and they got a couple players in here like Bobby Wagner signed, um,
Yeah,
Dante Fowler signed,
yeah.
Marcus Mariota, your personal favorite. uh,
He's the only quarterback I think that's in Washington, correct?
oh, that's a good question. Oh, Jake Fromm. They have Jake Fromm.
Oh, okay. I liked Jake Fromm in Georgia. We've seen nothing of him in the NFL, but when he was at Georgia, it was pretty good.
I mean, they got Austin Eckler. I,
Yep.
I guess that's something.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely in a rebuilding stage for sure, but it is kind of weird. I mean, I know they've had a few guys signing 1 year contracts, primarily playing defense for Washington, but nothing too crazy or extraordinary. But I think that's kind of what's going on with that team, and it just is it's kind of bizarre what's going on there. But there are teams that have this money to spend, and I do believe too some of this money has to go to practice squad players as well. So it's kind of how that works. I have a friend at work who said basically if you're on the practice squad of an NFL team, and this was about maybe 10 years ago, you would be getting basically 100,000 for a season if you
Yeah,
were on a yeah
it's kind of close to that. I can check here really quick.
yeah. So I would think it's probably still close to that, maybe a little bit more than that. So that kind of makes
Um,
sense.
it's so the league minimum for rookies is 750,000,
Okay,
and then if a practice squad player has fewer than 2 seasons, um, they earn 216,000,
nice.
and if they have at least 2 seasons or more, they're between 289 and 370.
Awesome. So that's cool, but that definitely chips into what we talked about. Like that money does add up, and I believe practice squads are about 11 players each. So right there, that's probably at least a good 3 to 5 million, kind
Yeah,
of.
but
So
60
yeah,
million, having 60 million left over is is insane.
Yeah, something is wrong there for sure. That is definitely the case. And I don't know. I mean, those states that you mentioned, there were really only, well, half of the states you mentioned have a very heavy income tax, like a Massachusetts or a California. They have huge income tax. I mean, we're basically talking between the two of them, we're talking like 10%. So that hits pretty hard. But the others are not too bad. Pennsylvania is actually a really good deal, and especially for Pennsylvania having two franchises that are both pretty solid for the most part, and Tennessee, which has no income tax, but is in complete rebuild mode, but on offense actually has some really good pieces. I mean, Tennessee's offense, maybe if they land a power back to replace Derrick Henry and a tight end and hope Will Levis makes it, that offense is set. Like, that's pretty much as good as you can really get with an offense. Those are big question marks you have to answer, but they've checked off almost all their boxes in Tennessee. So I give them credit. So if Tennessee were to sign anyone, it would be big name players to play defense. So that is a really weird situation. I guess more people in the NFL circles are not taking Tennessee seriously. It's understandable, but the Titans have always been a team that has always pretty much been a competitor, or they've been the worst team in the NFL. That's pretty much how they've functioned in our lifetimes. So I see Tennessee being one of those teams that can do it, but there's no reason why that money should just be unspent in Tennessee. I wish they had more aggressive management on it. But then again, I mean, they landed DeAndre Hopkins, they landed Calvin Ridley. The moves are older, but they're good moves.
You know what's funny? I forgot all about DeAndre Hopkins. I was
We
like,
all did.
I
But he
literally
had
had to
it.
sit here. I had to go, wait, it's Trey Burks and who else? Like,
Yes, yes, yes. But Will Levis's very first game, D Hop exploded. Like,
yeah,
it was I think it was basically a 3 touchdown, almost 200-yard game. And that would have won your fantasy week right there. Especially if you had both of them. I think that week I had one of them. I think I might have gone Will Levis or D Hop, something like that. But man, if you had both those guys, especially in a daily league, oh yeah, you would have won it.
yeah. Like I'm just looking at their depth chart,
Yep.
and they have a lot of receivers. I mean, they got Nick Westbrook as well.
Oh, he's still
Um,
there. Nice. He's a big target.
yeah, I believe they signed him long term.
That's awesome.
I have both of
That's a
those
really
signed.
good deal, actually.
Nope. Yeah, they re-signed him just 1 year deal.
Perfect.
But then Calvin Ridley got that 4 year deal, and then Tony Pollard got a 3 year deal.
Nice.
Um, oh,
They just need power. They need a power back.
whoa, what just happened to me here?
Uh-oh.
Am I still there?
You are, but you froze.
Oh,
Yeah, you
weird.
froze in the matrix.
But you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me try removing you and bringing you back. And your screen is dark.
Yeah, it
It's
just
like,
went black. I have no idea what just happened over here.
uh-oh. Wait. All right. It's like when Aaron Rodgers went on his retreat in Oregon.
Well, I mean, I guess you just have to listen to me. I have no idea what just
Oh
happened.
no.
That was
Oh no. Uh-oh. All right, so
I
we have DJ Triggs going 0 dark 30 on us.
I literally haven't moved. I'm sitting in the exact spot, and I don't know what just happened here.
That is crazy. Crazy stuff
Wait,
right there.
you know what? Let's pause.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
I'm gonna like close my camera and then try to reopen it.
Okay. Okay. We'll see. That could work. So we'll see what happens here. We got DJ Triggs 0 dark 30 on us at the
I'm
moment.
breaking things. I don't know.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. But you're still there.
I am. That's
Okay.
why I'm confused.
Uh-oh. All right.
We can
Well,
just talk about the Tennessee Titans, I guess.
Hey, Tennessee Titans. There you go. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that right there. I mean, we named off 4 really solid receivers when you think about it, especially when they get to the goal line. And what I see with Tennessee is that's a team that when they figure out this offense, when they get to the red zone, I look at that offense and think they're going to score. That they are definitely going to score. Yeah, there you go. He is back. DJ Triggs just scored with us at Db8 Sports. That's Db8.
I have no idea what just happened. I literally just turned my camera back on and off,
Beautiful.
and then it was
Power
like,
cycle.
yeah.
That's all it takes, man. That's Db8.
Maybe it got sick of us tearing the Tennessee Titans. I don't
Yeah,
know.
whatever. But yeah, just finishing up with the Titans. This is a team that I'll tell you this straight up. I am more interested in their players than Philadelphia Eagle players for this year in fantasy. All of them.
Wow.
I don't think there's a single Philadelphia Eagle. I mean, yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I'm not going to roll with Saquon. I got question marks with that guy. I got question marks on his character, his commitment, and his toughness. And there's major question marks on that offensive line. So yes, I will take Titans, all of them. I will take all of them ahead of Eagles. I'm not even going to touch any Philadelphia Eagle on offense in fantasy this year.
Well, I mean that's understandable. So one of the things that kind of got swept under the radar is the Philadelphia Eagles went and got Devontae Parker, and he's their third
He's a
now.
slot, but that's what
Yeah,
they need. They've in all of Jalen Hurts' career, they have never had a committed slot receiver. Julio Jones was there. Julio does not know how to play the slot. Julio will post up on you outside every day of the week. That's what Julio thrives at. And there were times they lined him up inside, and it didn't make sense. But when you bring in that piece of Devontae Parker, that's what they need. It's crazy how long they've gone at least 2 years without a dedicated slot receiver. Now having Devontae Parker there with their amazing wideouts outside, that's what they need. And they had like no tight end play last year either. So now this can kind of bring Dallas Goedert back into the fold. That's what they need. But again, I am concerned with how this offensive line is going to gel. I am concerned with what the heck is going on with Jalen Hurts. And behind Jalen Hurts is Kenny Pickett. And there's commitment issues there as well. So they've brought in 2 players that have serious commitment issues in my eyes.
no, I mean I know you're talking about their offensive line. They did give Landon Dickerson a 4-year extension for 84 million,
Sure.
which is insane. But he's a darn good guard.
Right.
And then they brought in Matt Hennessy as well on a
Okay.
1-year deal. So like they kind of tried to shore up. Now what they did do on defense is what really caught my attention. They
Sure.
went and got Devin White, C.J. Gardner Johnson. Like
Okay.
they threw some money out there on the defense
Sure.
and put together some guys where you're like, whoa. Bryce
Yeah.
Huff came in. Um,
Yes.
like they re-signed Brandon Graham on the
Okay.
edge. Like
Sure.
they really put some money into that. Maybe they just thought, hey, offensively we got Saquon. We're kind of just gonna hit our stride. We have 3 pretty good receivers. We got um, Jalen Hurts if he hits his deal. Um, Dallas Goddard, obviously pretty solid tight end.
Yep.
Like the East is kind of up for grabs. I mean, obviously Dallas didn't do anything. Washington threw in the towel, and the Giants are kind of just the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I would keep my eye on Washington. I still think that this is a team that will absolutely be trading up for Caleb Williams. And I see Dan Campbell basically revamping that defense pretty quickly. And if you have a special defensive coordinator slash head coach, you can do it. We saw Brian Flores do it with Minnesota this season. And we saw what Antonio Pierce and company did with the Raiders. I think that could definitely happen in Washington. Dan Campbell made a pretty good quick with Dallas too. Dallas did not have a good D back when I want to say the previous DC they had was Rex Ryan's brother before him. I think it was either that or it was Wade Phillips, maybe something to that tune. But I can definitely see Dan Quinn flipping that defense in Washington quickly. And more often than not, they failed at defense last year.
Their defense is horrible, and they have no like playmakers. I mean, the
Right.
guys they had, they got rid of.
They did.
And the problem I have with Washington is their offense. Like, yeah, if they trade up and get one of those top guys, all
Yeah.
power to them.
Yep.
But Austin Eckler is he going to be great behind this line?
He'll be the tailback. I think it'll still be Brian Robinson for more power and more do it all. But I think Eckler is going to be more of like almost like a Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. And then Terry McLaurin, like it. I'm not really a big fan.
I think one of those receivers goes to Chicago for Washington to trade up. I think either Terry.
Chicago needs another receiver.
Yes, they need to close out their receiving core. Darnell Mooney's not there anymore, but so their big names are Allen and DJ Moore. They don't have that third guy outside.
Huh.
Yeah. So I think they want Dotson or Terry. I think that would do it.
I guess, but I know they like Dante Pettis though.
Okay.
Yeah, and Cole Kmet kind of can do everything, and
sure.
Khalil Herbert they kind of put on the outside sometimes. I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Chicago's, I mean, if I'm Chicago, I'm saying if you want one, you're going to have to give me one of those, and more than likely, I'm going to dictate which one I get. Like you want your quarterback of the future, your franchise quarterback, you want Caleb Williams to be with Cliff Kingsbury. Then if I'm Chicago, I'm going to say the one that I think is truly better and younger is Jahan Dotson. That's the one I take.
You were going to say, don't you mess with the Jahan. That's a Adam Sandler reference right there.
Ah, there you go. There you go. That's no debate.
Was it Zohan or
Johan? The Zohan. Yes.
The Zohan.
Don't mess with the Zohan. Yes.
But why do they keep bringing Jamison Crowder into wide receiver rooms? That dude is horrible to me.
He's done. He's done. Like Jamison Crowder's had his days. He's done, man. I'm with you on that. I totally see where you're coming, but he's done. It needs to be. Well, is Crowder with Washington? Is that what you're talking about?
He re-signed. He just re-signed there.
Oh, Crowder. Yeah, he started with Washington a while back.
Right, exactly.
So that's why. And I think he's doing it because he knows he'll get more playing time, because he probably knows one of those two receivers is gone. So it's kind of a selfish, smart idea on his part. So I see where he's coming from there. The other weapon they have that I really, really like, who's a cool weapon and can do some really cool things, is Curtis Samuel. I love the way that guy plays. He is a weapon. He can run the ball. He can catch. He can do Debo Samuel-like things. He's cool.
I don't see him on the depth chart.
Oh. Uh-oh. Did he get released?
Maybe. Let's see if I can find some transactions here.
Yeah, see if you can find anything on Curtis Samuel, because he was the key component, but kind of reminded me of almost like the Celtics. And you're like, this mix of guys doesn't quite work, is kind of what I'm feeling. I mean, between Dotson, Terry, and Curtis Samuel, something about that mix doesn't work. It's almost like all three guys are about the same player, and they need something different, like a Mike Williams, who I don't think he is visiting Washington. I believe there are 4 teams that he's visiting. I'm not sure if Washington is one of those.
Curtis Samuel took over for Gabe Davis. He got a 3-year, $30 million contract with the Bills.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I think he could do some good things there. I still feel Buffalo. Oh, you know what? Maybe Buffalo is that fourth team that Mike Williams is talking with. But I think Buffalo needs a big target. I know they drafted one last season. I don't know exactly where that guy is on the depth chart, but they need to get a big target for Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I mean, Allen's got a lot of speedy, shifty receivers, but between him and Lamar Jackson, like, what do these guys have to do to get like a big wide receiver target to throw to? I just don't get it.
I mean, I got one for you. I got one. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, who you got?
They got your boy Mac Hollins.
Oh, Matt Collins is up in Buffalo?
Yep, he
Okay,
signed on a 1 year. Well, it just says a free agent deal, so I'm not
that's
really
fine.
sure how long it is.
Yeah, you're right. That counts. Matt Collins in Buffalo.
Four.
Yep. That would be a guy that I would definitely roll with for Buffalo. Yeah, that's big. That is important. I think too. Buffalo is at this point. I think they're done with Stephon Diggs's drama and send him away, man.
I could definitely tell you a couple teams that might be come knocking at that door.
Sure, good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what it takes. And like you'll get something in return. Stephon Diggs will be glad to get out of New York 11% state income tax for sure, wherever he goes. So I think that is definitely beneficial. And Josh Allen's talented enough that he can make any receiver a great receiver. He really can.
wow, that's
Yeah,
big praise for your boy Josh Allen there.
it is. It is.
No,
I mean,
okay,
he's been basically the best quarterback over the last 5 years.
okay. Here's a segue.
Yep.
Yeah, and not one of those roly things either. I
Ah.
totally just shrank in
Oh,
the camera. I don't know.
okay.
I lost a couple feet there.
The
Um,
soapbox.
but speaking of quarterbacks, what the heck is going on in Cleveland?
So Cleveland has now brought up Jameis Winston behind
Hmm.
Deshaun Watson. I think that is a terrible idea. I think both
And my boy, did you see
who?
Tyler Huntley is over there?
Oh, our guy Tyler Huntley from the Ravens?
The Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley. Yeah,
Oh gosh. Oh
right.
boy. Yeah, and honestly, if you're a Raven fan, I'd be a little concerned about that. Uh yeah, because Tyler Huntley is pretty special actually. So yeah, you got where is DTR on the roster?
I was gonna say it. DTR, your boy DTR is still on the roster.
Oh
What is going
gosh.
on in Cleveland?
Oh, that is a mess. I mean, I think they're looking at it like last year where they knew they had to go 5 quarterbacks, but basically all of this is to get DTR ready, is my feeling. I think they are just a mess. Though those are I mean, Tyler Huntley, I think, is a good guy, down to earth. We don't hear anything about him. But outside of Huntley and DTR, the other two guys are very sketch. They got issues. And I would never ever think of having a franchise quarterback like Deshaun Watson be anywhere close to a guy like Jameis Winston. I think that is
Right,
a recipe for disaster.
right. And I mean, I besides that, I kind of like what Cleveland's been doing. I mean, they got Naheem Hines.
Oh,
They
that's good
traded
because he
for
had a bad
Jerry
injury,
Judy.
man.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Um, Jerry Judy, they basically got for free. Um,
Yeah, that's cool.
Adam Troutman's over there now, and like
Troutman. I'm trying to think. Is he tight end or?
yeah, tight end.
Yeah.
I want. Oh man, why am I blanking on where he was from? Was it the Saints?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Yes. He is a
Yeah.
Saint.
Okay.
Isn't
Like,
he an ex Wisconsin Badger as well?
ooh, that's a good. Nope, he went to Dayton.
Oh, okay. All right.
I popped him up as soon as I said his name,
Nice. Nice.
and he was
Cool.
pretty solid. Like
Yeah, with the Saints he was, yeah. Not this
And
past
then
season, but the year before.
yeah, this past season he was with Denver. But like having
Gotcha.
him as a backup tight end is not a bad idea with David Njoku over there. They
Right.
got Zadarius Smith back. Like
Oh,
they've been doing some really good stuff.
yeah. They have been doing good stuff. I think though that they are going to do stuff, but then there are going to be weird things on offense. Nick Chubb will come back for sure.
Mhm.
You have Jerry Judy. You have what's his name,
Amari Cooper,
Amari Cooper, and then you have the other guy in the Higgins, right?
Elijah Moore.
Or Elijah Moore in the
Yeah.
slot. So you do check off a lot of heavy boxes for sure. This season will basically tell them everything they need to know about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
If he can't get
That's
it done with that offense, he's done.
right, because you are um, definitely loaded on offense.
I think too that they would be very quick to pull the trigger on him as well. They would
I
be
think they
ready.
have to be.
Yeah, because the coach is the one whose job is on the line. And when you have guys like Winston and Tyler Huntley, honestly, I would put Winston probably fourth.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really don't think Winston will make the team, to be honest. I think it's a signing, but I don't think he'll make the team. I think it'll be Deshaun Watson, Tyler Huntley, and DTR. And we're going to see in the near future probably DTR takes over the team.
So now this is one of the things I was kind of thinking about is what what happens if someone reaches out? Do you trade Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yeah. You want
And
to get
what
off that
team could
contract.
use him? What team could use him right now that has money? Washington?
Of those teams you mentioned, Washington, but I mean, I have my gut feeling on what they're doing. Washington is one of those teams. Tennessee would definitely be one of those
What
teams.
about New England? What do you think?
Yes, I think you're right. I think you nailed it. Yeah, I think New England is the team, and with the money Watson's getting, like he doesn't care about state income tax. Like bring in Deshaun Watson, draft a rookie, money. Now you're the Pittsburgh Steelers in
Oh,
terms of quarterbacking. In all honesty, so yeah, I think you're onto something right there. That could definitely be a thing. So then Cleveland would be looking at Tyler Huntley plus Jameson Winston plus DTR. I think that makes a ton of sense.
because right now I'm just looking at New England's depth chart.
Yep.
Jacoby Brissett is their number one.
I'd rather take Deshaun Watson.
Well,
Well, actually, oh, that's interesting because they were together in Cleveland. And honestly, right now, I'll take the opposite of what I just said. Jacoby Brissett is actually playing better than Deshaun Watson. So that would be interesting. Like let them duel it out, see what they think.
not
But
a bad idea.
In Cleveland, Brissett was better than Deshaun Watson for sure.
I'm just now I'm into the New England depth chart, and
That's interesting.
I'm in a rabbit hole here because
Okay.
did you know they got KJ Osborne?
Yeah, I know KJ Osborne re-signed. That's pretty good. They still got what's his name from Baylor. He's a really fast receiver. Like he's like
Kendrick Bourne?
no, not Kendrick Bourne. He's another guy.
Oh, Jalen Rager.
Nope, not Jalen Rager.
Oh man! All right, let me go find the depth chart again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, those
Demarius
are
Douglas.
Douglas. No, Pop Douglas. They like though. Pop Douglas will probably be a starter. He had a bad injury, but Pop Douglas is a guy they like for sure.
Who's the guy out of Baylor? Oh, Taquan Thornton.
Tyquan Thornton, yes.
Yeah,
I love Tyquan Thornton. That guy is stupid fast. He runs really good routes too. He's been a little banged up the last 2 years, but Tyquan with solid quarterbacking would be insane.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find his 40 time here.
Yeah. I think these receivers for New England are really not as bad as people say. I think it's more so of that offense with their quarterbacks. It was just toxic. And I'm not going to put all that weight on the wideouts. I still think they could definitely draft one or two and see what happens. But there's guys. I mean, Pop Douglas, Tyquan Thornton, and one other guy. That's something. That is totally something. Something that they could even draft as well. But Douglas, they really like, and I'm telling you, Tyquan Thornton is really special.
Dude, he ran a 4.28.
Yeah, he's like Tyreek Hill. Like he's insane.
Oh, why did
Ty-
they not use him more?
I don't know, and I'm telling you, I caught some of 2 years ago. I caught Baylor's conference championship game in the Big 12, and I caught one of their regular season games, and I caught the East West not or yeah the what was it, the East West Shrine game or bowl or whatever. Tyquan Thornton was the MVP of that game, and that's an all-star game for like the second tier college recruits. Thornton balled out in that game. He did some cool things. I mean, think of this past one. Think of like almost like the cool throws and catches made by wideouts from Tua's brother, Tagovailoa. Like he's going to be in this NFL draft as well for a team. So that's kind of cool too. But that same kind of balling out, that's what Tyquan Thornton did. And that's why I think they got some sneaky things there. They just need some quarterbacking. They might have Hunter Henry as a tight end. Running back, they got Ezekiel Elliott, really good power back. They need to add some do-it-all to what they have because
they got Ramondre.
Ramondre Stevenson is kind of okay. I'm not too excited about him.
Actually,
but
I don't think Zeke's there anymore. They have Antonio Gibson.
Gibson's cool. Gibson's like a do-it-all back. He's a good pass catcher. He might be more of a tailback. But
yeah, he signed a 3-year, $11 million deal.
Are you serious? There's no Ezekiel Elliott?
Not that I'm seeing. I'm gonna look up. Give me a second to just pop up where he is.
Yeah, because Zeke is special.
Actually, it just says most likely landing spot, so I don't think he has a deal.
Interesting. So maybe New England is using some of that money for Zeke Elliott signing. I think.
Interesting.
Yeah. But definitely Zeke's got to stay. I think that's a really key deal, something that has to happen. That's kind of what I'm seeing there. But it's obvious. They are missing pieces on offense. I don't know about the defense. I really don't know what's going on there. I have heard from real in-depth insiders that there is talk that like New England is really bad roster-wise. So that's what I'm hearing. And if that's the case, they're looking at a massive overhaul. And there is talks that they are legitimately trading back from 3 because they don't even want to have a rookie like go out there because they don't feel that they can land one of those rookies to really be the next franchise quarterback. I think that's what they see. That's what I've heard. I'm not saying it's true, but I am saying that that's what I've heard from insiders about NFL's higher brass.
So, like, just looking at their signings, I mean, they signed Jacoby Brissett, not a starter.
No. How is Brissett not a starter? I mean, he's what
bottom tier.
But did he play at all for Cleveland this past season? Or am I thinking 2 years ago with him?
Might have been 2 years ago.
Yeah, because 2 years ago he was really good. This past season, I don't think he did much of anything. And he was on Indianapolis? No.
I'm going to check for you.
Brissett was in Washington, right? So they went with Sam Howell. They
He
really
had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. I don't think he had enough playing time in Washington, even though he played really well in Cleveland. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, he was in Washington. He played 3 games. He went 18 for 23. He actually had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So,
yeah,
I mean, in 3 games,
he's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in my eyes, he's just, another.
He's a veteran. Player. He's a kind of a backup.
But they signed Nathan Rourke. I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
Antonio Gibson, 3 year, $11 million.
That's a
Kendrick
good.
Bourne's back.
Yep.
KJ Osborne's there. Jalen Rager's back. Hunter
Okay.
Henry and Austin Hooper. They signed 3 offensive linemen.
Okay.
2 edge rushers were re-signed.
Okay.
They signed a defensive tackle, a linebacker, and a safety. Like they literally like just signed a bunch of dudes, but
They
like
kind
none
of
of them
doubled
are big name
down.
players.
Yeah, they kind of doubled down on their lineup,
Yeah.
shockingly. Interesting. So what?
So yeah, they're not good.
Yeah, they're not good, but it's kind of weird because you said all that stuff and I liked it. Yeah, like that is bizarre. So I guess it's like, man, they really need a quarterback. I think you're onto something, man. I really think the Deshaun Watson to New England. I think that could happen.
And like, I mean, their receiving core doesn't really scare you. Their running backs are okay, I guess.
But
It's
those are
like,
replaceable in the draft. You can do
yeah,
something in the draft to make up for that.
and their line is kind of hit or miss.
The
Like their
offensive
offense,
line did nothing for Stevenson or Zeke, to be honest.
no, this entire offense just needs to like everybody should just go.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I like these guys, but man,
But
like
they're not like when you think of top 20 players, none of these guys are top 20 at their position.
Stevenson was supposed to be. I can tell you that.
Right.
He was definitely supposed to be. The receiving core, that's true. Pop Douglas, we don't know. Tyquan Thornton, we don't fully know. But those two were like supposed to be the guys. The other receivers, Kendrick Bourne was hurt as well, but he's still like outside of the top 20.
Right.
So
But then
I definitely see that.
Why bring in KJ Osborne and Jalen Rager and Juju Smith and like they're not giving those guys time to gel.
I have heard a name floating around. I don't know if he's signed, but I have heard Hollywood Brown is making a few stops.
Uh Kansas City, right?
Oh yeah, you might be right. Yeah, he might be in
Let
Kansas
me
City.
pop Kansas City up here really
Yeah,
quick.
you could be right about that. That'd be
Yeah,
an X.
1 year,
Okay,
$11 million.
that's pretty darn good, man. Yeah, good for him.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how you get $11 million out of that.
Nope, I agree. I mean, it's like it's a little shaky. I mean, if it were me, I would rather. I would rather like I just don't know how they couldn't come to terms with MVS. That's what I would have done. I would have stayed with MVS, made something happen, but it looks like MVS wants to probably go to the Jets. So, ugh.
Woo.
Yeah, yeah. I know MVS is not on a team, if I'm correct.
I I'm gonna assume no.
Yeah,
What's that guy?
yeah. Like if he couldn't do what he did and still get cut from the Chiefs, that's not a good look.
Man, but the Chiefs are gonna have Rasheed Rice, Justin Ross, and Hollywood Brown. Ooh,
Yeah,
that
I think they draft someone too. I
yeah, oh
like
yeah,
that. Yeah. So I think they want some big size. Like they need it. I think they thought they were going to get Mike Evans, and they didn't. So
yeah,
I think they want to get that Mike Evans prototype, whoever that is. That might be one of the two Washington wide receivers.
maybe not a bad
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, those guys got some size up there in Washington. So I could see that happening. I mean, there's talk that both of them can be picked in the first round. So that's a good look. I think if I no matter what, losing the size that MVS had hurts. So you need someone that could almost be like a deflection from Travis Kelsey because that clock is ticking. That clock is really ticking on Kelsey. So be ready to replace him at like in case of emergency break glass kind of thing.
Right. I'm gonna try to find MVS and see where he's going.
Yeah, I mean I've seen him interviewed multiple times and he's been giving a ton of praise to both Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. I think it would be fitting that he goes back to New York. Also, sneaky quarterback signing with the Jets is our guy. I'm blanking on his name. Former Buffalo Bill, Charger, Brown. I think, man, he was backing. I'm blanking on him, but he was backing Giant as well.
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, yes, he is back, and that's a good place for Tyrod Taylor. Just being honest, if Tyrod, he's had the worst luck of any quarterback trying to get a starting job, but Tyrod Taylor with the Jets. I'll be honest. I mean, I do think things are kind of weird with that team, and it might all blow up, and it probably does. But if Rodgers goes down, boy, I hope Tyrod Taylor doesn't go down. But I would like to see what Tyrod Taylor could do with that Jets offense. I think he'd be fine. I'd be fairly confident with both of those quarterbacks, actually, with Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor. I think that's really solid, actually.
So MVS, yeah, definitely a free agent right now.
Yeah, he'll probably go to the Jets.
Yeah, maybe. From what I'm seeing with the Jets, they basically have built up their defense and their offensive line.
Yeah, and I don't know any receiver that's not Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Like what the heck's going on there, man? And you're right, Jamison Crowder was that guy. But then what about the other guy? And I know there's a rookie that was kind of okay opposite Garrett Wilson, and I know that guy rose up the depth chart, so that might be their number 2 outside. But they really need MVS. I think they need MVS and maybe a slot receiver that's not Randall Cobb.
Are we thinking Jason Brownlee out of Southern Miss?
Maybe. I don't know the name. I thought
no idea who any of these people are.
I thought the receiver that was a rookie last year had like an X in his
Xavier
name.
Gibson.
Xavier Gibson. That is a real guy. Yeah, Xavier Gibson, Garrett Wilson, MVS, and then someone not Randall Cobb in the slot. That would check off all the boxes.
Alan Lazard is still there.
Yeah, but think of him as like Nick Westbrook-Akine. So when you get to the red zone, now you put in Alan Lazard. Like you definitely put in Alan Lazard once you're in the red zone. You take off. You probably swap him with Gibson. I would think that would be the trade you do. You keep Garrett Wilson, you take Gibson off, you put Lazard in, and then your slot receiver and the tight end that you like, Tyler Conklin.
Yeah. So just looking at their lineup, they have like the shortest wide receiver depth chart.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I mean that's them understanding that hey, we gotta address this position, and we gotta hit the draft, but we also have other needs. And if we can get MVS, then we really should only be drafting wide receivers at this point.
I mean, that offensive line is going to be
better. Yes.
I mean, they went out and got Morgan Moses from Baltimore in a trade.
Yep.
And then Tyron Smith, they paid like $20 million or something for him.
I think this
totally fine.
Yeah, I think this is the year that for fantasy that you should probably make a play for Breece Hall. He's had a year since the ACL tear. The offensive line got much better. They cut ties with running backs that don't work.
Like
now is the time. And the other guy, Dalvin Cook, and what was his name? Michael Carter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're both gone. So now they know it's Breece Hall. They probably still will bring in a guy or two, maybe a Zeke, something like that. I think that would be pretty good. And they roll. So they could really, they might be the second best team in that division at least.
And they're probably going to get David Bakhtiari, who's a legend at left tackle. So
good.
You put Tyron Smith and David Bakhtiari.
Whew, yep.
You're never going to touch Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. That would be exactly what they need. I think that's what they can make. There are some good looking pieces on the Jets. I mean, if you're kind of in the back end of the order of your fantasy league, I would keep your eye on Jets. I really would. And knowing how good that defense is knowing that the offensive line finally got addressed. You know who made a really big jump after they made the offensive line and like guys started to like show up and be a little more noticeable, even though this is a high name quarterback? The Chiefs. When the Kansas City Chiefs addressed that offensive line, the running game got better. Certain receivers were making some plays. They really changed their identity. Mahomes looked a little more comfortable, even though he's got some things that weren't going as well as we normally see with Mahomes, but still a good season. When that offensive line got secure along with that crazy good defense, the Chiefs really took a step up. We know the Jets have a defense. They were just on the field for 35 minutes a game. They were a good defense, but when you're on the field for that long, it doesn't matter how good you are. You're going to actually be a bad. You're going to rank as a bad defense. So the Jets might actually have a really good team that is being very underlooked right now.
I feel bad. I just looked up at the time and I'm like, man, we didn't talk NBA at all.
Yeah, we didn't. We're just entrenched with stuff. Yeah, I know. We're entrenched with like NFL things. Oh, and by the way, Derrick Henry is a Raven. Yeah.
Just throw that in there.
Well, we're just throwing that in there. I think we'll try to cover the Ravens tomorrow because that is something that deserves a deep dive. We got to understand what other transactions. We know that they were hurting for free agents and that they had to re-sign some guys. I'm not 100% if they did, but there's got to be more to the story than just Derrick Henry being a Raven. I still want to see a Mike Williams-like player become a Raven. These are things that have to happen, and I want to see those other re-signings. So that's our big project that we're doing tomorrow on top of college basketball.
And the Raiders got Alexander Madison.
Yeah, we got that. Madison, I mean, you got to have three guys. I think it's more of like, hey, we're going to draft a guy. But Madison's a power back, right? Madison?
Yeah, he was kind of like a cheap knockoff of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know if he's kind of more like that other running back that was a Raider and a Viking that I'm forgetting at the moment. But we actually played against him as a Denver Bronco, and that running back did really well against us as well. So I wonder if this is now like a pseudo, almost do it all back, but possibly a power back. In all honesty, between Madison, the tailback of Abdullah, and then the do-it-all of Zamir White.
And the biggest signing of all signings.
Yes.
Jimmy Garoppolo went to the Rams. And
that's no debate.
Now I'm done.
That's no debate. Debate. Book it right here. Actually, there's a lot of people starting to book the Rams. So look out for that. And even though he's there, I really do like the quarterback room of the Rams. Garoppolo is there. Carson Wentz is there. Matt Stafford is there. And knock on wood, hopefully he's doing healthy in his personal life and everything outside of sports. You had the former Georgia Bulldog quarterback, Stetson Bennett. He's really the heir apparent. If things are straight in his personal life, he will be the next guy to really take over that team.
And big shout out, Aaron Donald retired.
Yeah, Aaron Donald retired.
I promise, I'm done.
Hey, there we go. 10-year career, great guy, one team Hall of Famer. Everyone loves Aaron Donald, so it's cool. I mean, there was talks that he was thinking about hanging it up last season. Gave it a roll, but yeah, he's a great guy and good for him. Yeah. That's no debate.
No debate.
That's no debate there. So I think that's what we got for a great show tonight. Tomorrow, tune in. We have our March Madness picks for both the men's and the women's brackets. Is Caitlin Clark going to go the distance? Who knows? We'll find out. But I'm looking at my bracket right here, taking a little peek, and I got some stuff that I'm kicking around. So we'll break it all down tomorrow, both the men's and the women's side of the brackets. Going to be tons of fun. All college basketball tomorrow. That's no debate. Yep.